In 1943, as the sun glinted off the Pacific, Japanese Zero pilots soared through the skies with deadly grace, commanding respect and a sense of invincibility. Then, whispers of a new American fighter began to circulate, the P-47 Thunderbolt. But those whispers sparked laughter among the pilots. "Look at that behemoth," they'd mock. "It'll plummet before it even engages." Yet unknown to them, hidden beneath its hefty exterior, was a powerhouse that would soon change everything, shifting the balance of aerial warfare and silencing the laughter forever. The Thunderbolt, also known as the Jug, emerged from the heart of American ingenuity during an era when industry was at full throttle. Designed by Republic Aviation, this fighter wasn't just another aircraft, it was a symbol of resilience and strength. Picture this: the heaviest single-engine fighter of World War II, powered by a gigantic Pratt & Whitney R2800 engine that could roar to life and command the skies. It wasn't designed to be sleek or nimble. Instead, the Thunderbolt embraced its nickname, built like a tank with armor so robust that it could absorb hits that would tear lesser planes to shreds. Imagine a pilot in the cockpit, surrounded by 850 caliber machine guns, ready to unleash fury on the enemy. It took some time for pilots to master the Jug's unique handling, but those who did discovered an unparalleled ally in the skies, capable of turning the tide of battle. The Thunderbolt wasn't just a plane, it was a testament to the power of American craftsmanship, a flying fortress that embodied the spirit of those who fought in it. The arrival of the first P-47 Thunderbolts in Europe marked a baptism by combat for American pilots. At first, they faced a steep learning curve. The P-47, with its heavy frame, climbed slowly and felt cumbersome in tight turns. It wasn't the nimble fighter pilots hoped for, but every pilot knows that the true test lies not in how you start, but in how you adapt. As they pushed past the initial challenges, they discovered the aircraft's astonishing diving speed. Imagine the rush, plummeting from 30,000 feet, the world below blurring as they outpaced enemy fighters in a breathtaking descent. In that moment, the P-47 wasn't just another aircraft, it was a game changer. This newfound ability not only turned the tide in dogfights over Europe, but would soon carry its fierce reputation across the Pacific. Zero pilots would be met with a force that didn't just play by the rules, a robust juggernaut that could dominate the skies in ways they had never anticipated. As 1943 drew to a close, the stage was set for one of the most intense aerial showdowns of World War II. The Pacific theater was alive with anticipation as Thunderbolts, the formidable P-47 fighters, were deployed. Japanese pilots, already seasoned in combat, confidently took to the skies, convinced their nimble Zeros would have no trouble outmaneuvering the newcomers. It was a belief that would soon face a harsh reality. In the dogfights over New Guinea and the Solomons, the Zeros quickly learned that the Thunderbolts were not playing by the same rules. Instead of engaging in the expected swirling turns that characterized dogfights, these American fighters dove straight down. Picture the scene: Zeros chasing after what they thought would be an easy kill, only to find themselves caught in a deadly trap. As the Thunderbolts plummeted, they reached speeds over 500 miles per hour, a velocity that wreaked havoc on the Zeros. With the sheer weight and power of the P-47s, Japanese planes would be torn apart in mid-air, leaving no trace of their confidence behind. It was a shocking transformation. Where there was once certainty, now lay chaos. The Pacific was awakening, and it was brutal. Major Neil Kirby transformed the P-47 Thunderbolt into an instrument of awe and terror during World War II, demonstrating that mastery of dive tactics could redefine aerial combat. With a fearless demeanor and a keen tactical mind, Kirby embraced the boom and zoom strategy, attacking from high altitudes, striking with precision, and retreating into a dive, leaving enemy pilots scrambling in confusion. Imagine the moment. A soldier, perhaps like someone you know, heart racing as he makes the call to dive. In those heart-stopping seconds, Japanese pilots faced a brutal reality. Their nimble planes often stalled or disintegrated trying to keep pace. Kirby's P-47 wasn't just a fighter, it became a guardian of the skies, using speed as both sword and shield. Each calculated dive became a testament to Kirby's skill and courage, and it showed his adversaries that the battle was no longer even. The Thunderbolt wasn't just in the fight, it dictated the terms, forever changing the landscape of air warfare. Imagine soaring through the skies, facing relentless enemy fire, and your lifeline, the engine, starts to falter. For P-47 Thunderbolt pilots, that lifeline was the R-2800 Double Wasp, a massive radial engine known for its unshakable resilience. This behemoth didn't just run, it endured. Pilots often returned home with oil leaks, bullet holes, or even damaged cylinders, yet the engine soldiered on, defying the odds. It possessed the ability to climb to 40,000 feet, enabling daring attacks from above, and when the time came to dive headfirst into the fray, it did so with a ferocity that left enemy gunners in disbelief. The P-47 was more than just a plane, it was a relentless guardian. Interestingly, Japanese pilots began whispering ominously about the Thunderbolt, labeling it unkillable. This reputation wasn't merely bravado, it was a testament to an engine that could take punishment and keep roaring back, just like the pilots who flew it. As the war ground on, the P-47 Thunderbolt transformed from a high-flying interceptor into a relentless juggernaut of destruction, earning its reputation as flying artillery. Packed with 850 caliber machine guns, it had the firepower to rip through not just enemy planes, but trucks, tanks, and even small ships in a storm of bullets. When these metal monsters arrived in the skies over the Philippines, locals couldn't help but be awed. Imagine standing on the ground, witnessing Japanese convoys being turned into roaring fireballs as these aircraft swooped down, strafe after strafe. For Japan's once dominant air force, this was more than just a tactical shift. It was a brutal humiliation from above, a reminder that the tides of war had irrevocably changed. The Thunderbolt wasn't just flying overhead, it was changing the very landscape of battle, striking fear into the hearts of those below and cementing its legacy as a symbol of raw, destructive power. The stories of Thunderbolt pilots are more than just war tales. They're woven into the very fabric of courage and resilience. Take Colonel Francis "Gabby" Gabreski, for instance. With his unyielding spirit, Gabreski became a living legend, taking to the skies in a P-47 not just to fight, but to survive. He wasn't the only one. Major Robert Johnson's bravery was equally remarkable. Imagine him returning from a harrowing dogfight, his aircraft riddled with 21 bullet holes, an engine cylinder dead, and no canopy left. Yet he still managed to land safely, a testament to the indomitable human spirit and the reliability of the Jug. This wasn't just a plane. For these pilots, the P-47 became a trusted ally. And despite what the naysayers claimed, those who called it a fat plane quickly learned the hard way that its looks belied its might. The Thunderbolt was faster, stronger, and deadlier than anyone could have anticipated, filling the hearts of its crews with confidence. With each mission, they forged a bond not just with their aircraft, but with each other. Camaraderie that transformed fear into valor. In the face of adversity, these aviators became symbols of hope, proving that beauty isn't always found in sleek lines, but in the unwavering strength of a machine that can bring its men home. As the war neared its end in 1945, the P-47 Thunderbolt wasn't just another fighter, it had transformed into a symbol of American air power. Picture this, beneath the roaring engines, it escorted bombers through enemy skies, the aerial guardian of freedom. While the P-51 Mustang might have stolen the spotlight in the American press, the Thunderbolt's raw, muscular design and unparalleled strength carried out countless missions that turned the tides in favor of the Allies. Many Japanese pilots, once dismissive of its bulbous shape, began to regard it with a mixture of admiration and dread. For them, the sight of a Thunderbolt often marked their last moments in the sky, as its thunderous dive signaled doom. The pilot's fears reflect a wider truth about the P-47. It was adaptable, reliable, and powerful. In its final act, the Thunderbolt proved that sometimes raw power and resilience can overshadow elegance, making it a revered figure in aviation history as the last rumbles of war echoed across Asia. When the war concluded, rows of Thunderbolts stood silent, their missions complete, yet their legacy alive. Veterans cherished their bond with this beast in the sky. The P-47 taught us that with ingenuity and grit, even the smallest can soar high. It whispered to its enemies, never underestimate the underdog, especially when they have wings of thunder.